My name is Doris. I am 37 years old. I live with my husband Peter. Peter is 41, and we have been married for 9 years. Our life was simple, but it made us happy. We lived in a small apartment in the city. It was not fancy, but it was comfortable. The apartment had a tiny kitchen, a living room with a soft gray sofa, and one quiet bedroom. From our window we could see a busy street and a small green park across the road. Every evening children played in the park while people walked their dogs. Peter worked for a shipping company near the airport. His job was not easy. Trucks arrived all day and night, and many workers depended on his schedules. Sometimes he came home tired, but he always said the same thing. "I'm working hard for our future." I worked at a small dental clinic. My job was at the front desk. I greeted patients, answered their questions, and helped them fill out forms. Some days were very busy. Other days were slow and peaceful. But I liked helping people. Our daily routine rarely changed. In the morning Peter made coffee while I prepared breakfast. Sometimes we ate toast and eggs. Sometimes we only drank coffee because we were late. Then we both went to work. In the evening we came home, cooked dinner together, and talked about our day. Peter loved telling stories about strange problems at the warehouse. Sometimes we laughed for a long time. One rule always guided our marriage: no secrets. We believed honesty made a relationship strong. For many years it worked perfectly. But about 3 weeks ago, something started to feel different. At first, the change was small. Peter began coming home later than usual. Normally he arrived around 6 in the evening, but now it was sometimes 7 or even 8. The first time, I didn't worry. Work must be busy, I thought. But when Peter walked through the door that night, he looked exhausted. His shoulders were heavy and his eyes seemed far away. "Long day?" I asked. He nodded quietly. "Yes, very long." During dinner he hardly spoke. That was unusual. Peter normally loved talking during meals. Still, I told myself not to worry. Everyone has stressful days. A few days later something else happened. We were eating dinner when Peter's phone suddenly rang on the table. The sound felt loud in the quiet room. Peter looked at the screen. Then he did something strange. He stood up quickly and walked into the other room to answer the call. I sat there alone, holding my fork. Peter had never done that before. Usually he answered calls right in front of me. Sometimes he even laughed about work problems while talking on the phone. But this time he closed the door. I could hear his voice from the other room, but the words were too quiet to understand. After a few minutes he returned and sat down. "Who was it?" I asked. "Someone from work," he replied quickly. His answer sounded normal, but something about his voice felt careful, like he was choosing his words very slowly. I didn't ask more questions, but a strange feeling stayed in my chest. During the next week, the feeling grew stronger. Peter looked distracted many times. Once I asked him a question, and he didn't answer at all. "Peter," I said. He suddenly looked at me like he had just returned from a long journey inside his mind. "Oh, sorry," he said. "What did you say?" That moment made me uneasy. Where was his mind going? What was he hiding? One afternoon after work, I visited my neighbor Mrs. Helen. She had lived in our building for many years and was always kind and wise. Whenever I had a problem, she listened. Her apartment smelled like warm tea when she opened the door. "Doris, come in," she said with a smile. We sat at her kitchen table while she poured tea into 2 cups. After studying my face for a moment, she asked gently, "What's troubling you?" I tried to smile. "Nothing," I said. She raised an eyebrow. "I've known you long enough," she replied. "Something is wrong." So I told her everything. I explained Peter coming home late, the phone call during dinner, and the strange way he seemed lost in his thoughts. Mrs. Helen listened quietly. When I finished, she spoke slowly. "Sometimes people hide problems," she said, "not because they want to lie, but because they think they are protecting someone they love." Her words stayed in my mind. Maybe Peter was dealing with something difficult at work. Maybe he didn't want to worry me. That evening Peter came home again, but this time he looked nervous. Not just tired. Nervous. He placed his keys on the table and avoided looking at me. Then he asked a surprising question. "Doris, have you ever thought about moving somewhere else?" I blinked. "Moving?" I repeated. "Why?" Peter rubbed the back of his neck. "I don't know," he said slowly. "Maybe another city. Maybe near the ocean." My heart beat faster. We had never talked about moving before. "Peter," I said quietly, "what's going on?" He opened his mouth but said nothing. Finally he shook his head. "Nothing," he said, but I could see the fear in his face. Later that night he went to take a shower while I cleaned the kitchen. The apartment was quiet except for the sound of running water. Then suddenly, bzzz, Peter's phone vibrated on the counter. The screen lit up for a moment. I wasn't planning to look, but the message appeared clearly before the screen turned dark. It said, "Did you tell her yet?" My heart stopped. "Tell me what?" Who sent that message? My mind filled with questions. A minute later Peter walked into the kitchen. His hair was wet, and he picked up his phone. For a moment his expression changed when he saw the screen. Then he locked the phone and put it in his pocket. We sat on the sofa in the living room, but I couldn't focus on the television. The words repeated in my mind. "Did you tell her yet?" Finally I turned to him. "Peter," I said slowly. "Yes. I think it's time you tell me the truth." He froze. "The truth?" he asked. "About the message." His eyes widened slightly. "You saw my phone?" "Only the notification," I replied. The room became silent. Peter rubbed his face with his hands. Then he sighed deeply. "It's not what you think," he said quietly. "Then explain it," I replied. After a long moment, He finally spoke. "Do you remember when I told you my company was having financial problems?" I nodded. "Yes. It got worse," he said. "How?" Peter took a deep breath. "My department is closing." The words shocked me. "You're losing your job?" He nodded slowly. "Yes." I leaned back, trying to understand. But another question still remained. "The message," I said. Peter nodded. "That was my manager. He knows I've been trying to tell you." "Trying?" I asked. "There's another job in the company," Peter explained. "But it's in another city." My stomach tightened. "Where?" "A coastal city," he said. Then he added the words that surprised me most. "I already accepted the job." I stared at him. "You accepted it without telling me?" Peter looked ashamed. "I was scared," he admitted. "I didn't want us to lose everything." For a moment I felt angry, but I also saw the stress he had been carrying alone. "Peter," I said gently, "marriage means we face problems together." He nodded slowly. "You're right." I moved closer and held his hand. "So tell me something," I said. "What?" "When do we move?" He looked surprised. "You're willing to go?" I smiled softly. "Of course." His shoulders relaxed with relief. "I was so afraid you would say no," he admitted. "Next time," I said, "we decide together." "Together," he agreed. That night we talked for hours. We discussed finding a new apartment near the ocean and looking for a new job for me. The future still felt uncertain, but one thing was clear. Wherever we went, we would face life side by side. Because sometimes the strongest part of a marriage is not avoiding problems. It is learning how to face them together.